Welcome to the outskirts of Vienna. I'm out today on the Peugeot Pulsion Evo and I'm not riding alone. Zonko is here with me. We've been taking it easy today on the Peugeot Pulsion Evo. How it performs in the city and also outside the city is what you're about to find out. So, welcome to 1000 PS TV. We're just outside Vienna today with the brand new Peugeot Pulsion Evo to see how well this French scooter works in the city and beyond. Before we get into it, there's one thing that's always particularly important to me when testing scooters, the tyres. Scooters are used in bad weather, good weather, when it's cold, when it's warm, and on all kinds of roads. That's why I once again chose the ContiScoot tyre for this test. It's a tyre I know very well from my own scooters. I had it on my last two scooters, and I've been very happy with it. Why do I like the ContiScoot? Quite simply, it works well even at low temperatures, it warms up quickly, and especially on simple vehicles like the Peugeot Pulsion Evo, which may not have the most sophisticated suspension in the world, the tyre itself provides a noticeable amount of extra damping. I think that's important because it gives you a little more comfort. So, ContiScoot, thanks to Conti for sending us the tyres. We fitted them to the Pulsion Evo and that's what we've been riding on today. How do you categorise the scooter? It's an A1 class scooter, which means in Austria and Germany it can also be ridden with the relevant car licence extensions such as B111 or B196. It's a relatively simple entry-level scooter and you can see that in the price as well. In Austria and Germany it costs just over 3,500 euros, which is genuinely affordable. That's a good price. And whether you notice that low price while riding it is what we're going to find out now. Starting with the basics, as I've already mentioned, this is a 125 cubic centimetre scooter. We have 125 cubic centimetres, 13.5 horsepower and 12 newton metres of torque with the engine and transmission integrated into the swing arm. Thankfully, ABS is included as well, which is always important in the city. Then there's the ergonomics. Zonko, how do you find it? How do you sit on it?
I sit really well on it, and what I particularly like is the tapered aluminium handlebar right in front of me. It looks like something from a motorcycle, which I always like. I think you can see that the riding position works really well for me, and it's a relatively compact scooter that makes it excellent for weaving through the city. On very poor roads outside town, though, there are naturally better options, especially with these relatively small wheels.
Yes, there are better options for that, but we'll come back to it. Another thing worth mentioning about the ergonomics is the pillion seat. It's very large. I was riding with Matteo on the back earlier today and it was very comfortable for two people, both in terms of comfort and controllability in the city. What you do notice with the Pillion is the engine performance. We only have 13.5 horsepower. That's typical for this class and I actually like the engine. It can comfortably reach 70 or 80 kilometers per hour, which is often all you need in the city. What is a little weaker is the initial pull-away response. There's a slight delay, that rubber band effect you get with some scooters. Some scooters manage it better, and on the Peugeot it's a little more noticeable. You mainly feel it when pulling away from traffic lights. You open the throttle, the engine revs first, and then the scooter starts moving. It's a little unfortunate and something you need to keep in mind when setting off, but otherwise it's very pleasant to use in the city, even with two people on board. The obvious competitors are scooters such as the Honda PCX 125 and Yamaha NMAX, which also often use this kind of exposed, tapered handlebar. In my opinion, the Peugeot sits nicely between them. Looking at the equipment, I was told earlier today at Peugeot Willinger in Vienna that Peugeot has deliberately made this new generation a little simpler again. So there's no keyless system, you get a traditional ignition key, and there's no TFT display either. Instead, there's a conventional LCD display. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It helps keep the price down and the display is easy to read and gives me all the information I actually need on a city scooter. Fuel level and speed. Speaking of fuel, the tank holds 11 litres. That's quite good for a scooter like this. With fuel consumption of around 2 litres per 100 kilometres, you can cover a very decent distance. We didn't only ride in the city though, we also took it out onto roads around the Kahlenberg outside Vienna because I wanted to see how the ContiScoot performs there as well. Zonko also had a chance to push it a little.
I already knew the ContiScoot from a Vespa test. I had it on a 300 cubic centimeters Vespa, and it's a great tire. One situation where you really notice how good it is when you cross tram tracks. You don't have to cross them at an extremely sharp angle. You can take them at a relatively shallow angle and still have good grip. I'm very happy with the tire, including the stability. And if you're prepared to take your time, this scooter can cover surprisingly long distances. You're only doing around 100 kilometers per hour, but it'll get you there, and the riding position is extremely comfortable. But the really important use case for a scooter like this isn't long distance touring, it's urban riding and shorter commutes. And for that, it's great that it has proper storage space. There's genuinely a lot of room under the seat, and I think that adds real value to a vehicle like this.
It's honestly one of the biggest under-seat storage compartments I've seen on a scooter. My Schubert J2 fits in easily, and there's still room for another smaller helmet in front of it, so Peugeot has done a very good job here. You can fit a full-face helmet and a smaller open-face helmet, and there's still space between them for smaller items such as gloves, a vest or a light jacket. There's also a small storage compartment in the front fairing with both USB and USB-C connections, so you can charge devices while riding. And as you'd expect, there's also a hook where you can secure a shopping bag. Another thing I liked about the Peugeot Pulsion is the build quality. That was noticeable both in the city and here on the cobbled roads. Visually, I think it looks expensive and high quality. I really like the design, even though this is still a budget-friendly scooter, but nothing rattles, nothing clatters, and nothing feels loosely assembled. No matter how poor the road surface became, the scooter stayed quiet and composed. The suspension is perfectly acceptable for this class, and the scooter remained comfortable, calm, and stable on bad roads. To me, that also says a lot about the build quality.
That's a good point, because on roads like these, a lot of scooters start rattling and vibrating. This one doesn't. Everything feels properly put together. And considering we're talking about only 13.5 horsepower, I think the styling gives the scooter a much more premium impression. The paintwork, the white wheels, and the blue finish work really well together. I think Peugeot has done a great job with the color scheme.
It's very elegant, including the small French flag detail in the fairing. Peugeot clearly shows where the scooter comes from, and the design suits it really well. Another point on ergonomics is foot position. I wear size 43 shoes and there's plenty of space. Even size 46 should still fit comfortably. You can also move your feet slightly forwards into a more stretched out position, although the available space is naturally limited. Overall, the foot position is comfortable. The windscreen is fairly compact, but I think that suits a scooter in this urban category. After all, the fastest you're realistically going to ride is around 100 kilometers per hour when you briefly head out of town.
A little wind protection is definitely useful, but what matters most to me is having a clear view of the road, especially in the city. So, Horvath, to sum it up, I like it. I think it offers a very good price. Of course, it's not a scooter that's going to overwhelm you with performance, but with 13.5 horsepower, I wouldn't call it weak. It has a huge amount of storage space, it's very practical, and I think it makes a lot of sense as a city scooter.
I agree. As a small urban runabout, the Peugeot Pulsion Evo is definitely an option. If you get the chance, have a look at one and give it a try. This was the first proper ride for both of us, and we came away impressed, especially by how well it works with two people on board. Matteo, who recently got his A1 license, also rode with us, and carrying a Pillion is absolutely manageable. If you're interested in Peugeot scooters, we already have plenty of videos about them on the channel. We also had another Peugeot scooter with us today, and I'm sure there will be more coming in the future. And once again, my recommendation for the ContiScoot tyres, I use them privately on my own scooters as well, and they work very well for this type of vehicle. Otherwise, I think we've covered the Pulsion Evo pretty well and talked about the most important points. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'd be interested to hear them. Thanks for joining me, Zonko, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you again in the next video. See you soon. Bye.